And we'll get started here. All right, team meeting. Welcome to the KWPV team meeting. Happy April 15th, otherwise known as Tax Day. Hopefully, you guys didn't cry too much leading up to this day. Delayed crying until October. So I hit the extension button yesterday. All right, let's go. Daniel, let's get started with this. So the TCPA, I'm not going to read through this, but again, anything we talk about, if it involves you cold calling people, just make sure that you remember that you're following compliance with all of that stuff so that you don't get into any trouble with fines. Okay. Daniel, let's move to the next slide. Good Friday is this Friday, so the office will be closed. So just you guys, if you need to access the office, you can use your keys to get into the office. It's just that there won't be staff here for Good Friday to celebrate the holiday over the weekend. But we'll be back up and running fully on Monday morning. So if you need anything from the office or staff or escrow or any of that stuff, make sure that you try to get all that stuff knocked out before the week's over. All right. Tell something good. Who's got something really, really good to share that, and again, it doesn't necessarily have to real estate, just anything that's good that might be happening in your guys' lives right now. We always want to start the meeting off with some positivity. You have a client? How do you find him? Open houses? Very good. You're finding all your clients from open houses. I think there's some correlation to that, right? Open house lease client. I know that you found your last closing from open houses too, right? Yeah. So let's get out there and let's get active with the open houses. And it really doesn't necessarily even need, if open houses aren't your jam, just making sure that you're showing up and you're being present and you're lead generating and you're following up with those people, which we'll talk a little bit about more a little bit later today as well too. Anybody else? I got one that was kind of good. I think it might be good. I'm still waiting probably within the next week or two to find out if it'll actually be good or not. But the master plan to get all of my family down here is starting to work a little bit because my youngest daughter, who is looking at colleges, has narrowed it down to San Francisco State and Long Beach State. We did the day at the beach at Long Beach State last Saturday, and I think she was pretty apprehensive going in. Coming out, she was like, "I can really see myself here." So she's got a visit to San Francisco lined up this week. I'm asking for crappy wet. Well, I went to San Francisco State. It's not as nice and as warm and great of a campus. So I'm hoping that she'll make her commitment pretty soon. So a daughter could be moving down here pretty soon. And then my wife even mentioned to me this. Yeah, for sure. Right. So that is good for me, at least. All right. Anybody else before we move on?
Live buyer.
You have a live buyer? They're not dead.
We thought, just never do. We showed 10 houses a day. He's out here from Austin. We have to make a decision this evening. So we went to about 10 a day since Friday.
How did you line up with this person from Austin?
It was a referral from a house that he sold a client. And he referred me, actually, he had an Airbnb and he was staying in his how do you say?
Airbnb.
Yeah. And so I met finally retired in California.
Love that, right? So make sure that you're talking to your people about referral too, right? All right. Cool, Daniel. Let's move on with the next slide because we got some cool stuff coming up. Anybody have any? Let's start off with this. Anybody have any off-market listings that are going to be hitting the market soon? They're already up a lot of listings in the market, right? Yeah.
Yeah, what legal and they fixed up.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it house or Palos?
Cool. And then yeah.
Because I'm looking for my client. Do you know anything to say? In San Pedro, a little bit of a view could be a condo or a house up to 9.
Okay, so got a buyer need there as
Not
well
too
too.
big, but not too small. That's what.
Awesome. Anybody else have any listings that are coming up or something that a buyer is particularly looking for? Yeah. In downtown LA, a listing? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, not a bad, even without of you, not a bad deal for, yeah, very good. And that goes for everybody at home as well too. If you want to get some free marketing done for that, make sure you send some information to Daniel and then he can blast it out to the office so that you guys can get a heads up on or get an early start on some of the marketing stuff as well too. He's not here today and Cindy's not here today because I'm sure that they both are going to be on broker, but I was talking to both of them yesterday, and Stephen has several listings that are going to be coming up pretty soon as well too. So if you have people looking around the hill, maybe check in with Stephen because he mentioned that they got a lot of stuff that's getting ready to pop. So we're in that season, right? So we need to really make sure that we're focused right now because this is the time to capture opportunity and you don't want to squander or waste any of that stuff, right? All right, Daniel. Quote, a success in real estate doesn't come from who you know, it comes from who knows you, trusts you, and remembers how you made them feel. What do you think that means? Yeah, it's about the relationships, right? Because cool, if you know lots of people, but you don't really have, but they're all acquaintances, and you don't really have meaningful with them, it's harder for them to like, know, and trust you. And who does business with you? People who like, know, and trust you, right? So it's one thing to be known, it's another thing to actually people. So we got to make sure that we're taking time every day to make a little bit more personal, deeper connection with people. And it's not like, again, you're not going to do a bold 100 and develop great personal connections with people, right? So not saying that you shouldn't do that because you got to identify who are leads, but you should make at least a couple calls, 2-3 calls every single day to where you're going to actually have a conversation and ask people how they are, what's going on in their lives, how can you help them, whether it's real estate related or not, so they develop that emotional proximity with you. All right, next slide, Daniel. We got a lot on tour today. Who are the ones that we want to make sure that we're highlighting, Daniel? Okay, so okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Van tour today. Daniel, next slide. So team meeting. Today's team meeting is sponsored by Susie Pelshaw. Her partner, Carrie. Carrie's been here quite a few times, but we have Susie here herself. So I'm going to have her come up, talk a little bit about some of the cool things that they're doing and that they can assist you with. And let's give a big hand to Susie and thank her for the great breakfast she provided today. This is our microphone, so if you don't want to all attach up.
You guys can hear me, right?
Well, the people at home.
Oh, people at home.
Yeah.
People at home. What do I just hold
Yeah,
it?
you can-
Hello. So I see a lot of new faces here. Just so you know a little bit about me, I've been doing this since before you were born. So I have some, I've been 26 years in Fidelity. On April Fool's Day, as a matter of fact, was my 26th anniversary. Oxymoron, but I've been here a really long time. So I know my stuff with regards to home warranty and disclosure source. I work with a lot of you here in the room for many years. And I hired Carrie because we are so busy and we wanted to give you excellent service and I just couldn't manage it. I was spreading myself way too thin. So I am behind the scenes, which is why you see Carrie with the boots on the ground. I'm taking care of your clients. I'm handling all the service problems. I'm ordering your warranties. The homeowners are so much more involved than they ever were before. I'm having dialogue with them, just as John was saying, talking to them, asking them what kind of coverage that they want. So I know since there's fresh faces in here, if anyone puts you against a wall, you're not supposed to know my job, just like I don't know yours. So throw them to my way. I'm happy to talk to them. Just email me, give me their email address. I'll send them the brochure via email. We have great conversations. I always brag about you guys and promote you. So it's been wonderful. And the feedback has been tremendous. Carrie is here to get you door hangers, feed you, do your presentations and things like that. Carrie's father passed away, unfortunately, over the weekend, which is why I'm here with no materials. I apologize, but yeah, he died on the golf course playing golf. So yeah, he died doing what he loved. But so yeah, our hearts are with Carrie right now. I wanted to give you a little bit of incentive. Hi, John. I just got a deal from you yesterday. Thank you so much. Anybody, just for a little incentive, because we need a little fire under our oomph, right? Anyone who does a warranty with Fidelity this month, I'm going to give you a free service call for your client. Now, if you don't represent the buyer, save it, because I'm not going to put a property address on it or an expiration date. You can save it for when you do get a buyer. But they love this. It's $90. You have one? I'll sign this for you. I'll sign one for John. Also, Ms. Holiday Inn, I'll sign one for you as well. Yeah, let me know. And on that note, I want you to make sure, if by close of escrow or before close of escrow, when you're getting your paperwork from escrow, if you don't have your confirmation in hand from us, that's a red flag. That means A, it hasn't been ordered, B, it might have been ordered from under the other agent's name, or C, it got lost. I'm telling you, that is my biggest contention. This is your transaction. We want you to control your transaction. So I'm happy to order. I order every day, all day. Throw it to me. If you're dealing with an out of area escrow, if it isn't your choice, let me know, because just like you have a relationship with your escrow, that escrow may have a relationship with that other agent. You want to make sure the policy is correct. There was an agent that worked in this office years ago, top producer, still work with him today, but he had put back in the day, Fidelity Home Warranty, Susie Pelshaw, not to exceed $1,500. He had an escrow out in Hemet. 6 months later, the house was on Rocking Horse Lane. The pool went the homeowner called for the pool, and he's like, well, let me call. They said Fidelity denied me on the pool. He's like, let me call my rep, Susie. He's like, Suze, I had $1,500 in the contract. I look it up. I said, well, your escrow only ordered the basic for $300. He's like, you got to be kidding me. This was 6 months later. He goes, what do I do? I said, well, if you want to save your client, you're either going to have to pay for that pool, because this is 6 months after the contract has already been in place. But we send a confirmation to you, the agent, we send it to the cooperating agent, and we send a demand to escrow right away. When the property closes, if we capture the email address from the homeowner, we send a contract immediately to the homeowner. There's 4 people that have confirmation of what that is. No one looked at that. Not what any of those 4. It cost them $1,600 out of pocket. So we want to save your commissions. That's the worst thing that could happen to you. Look at the confirmation. Make sure your order is ordered correctly. The number one thing escrows tell me is I don't walk the property. I have no idea what's in it. If they throw $1,500 in my lap in the contract, I don't know what to order. And I don't either. But the difference between me and escrow is I'll call you guys. What do you want me to do with this money? Do you want me to get pool? Do you have an outdoor kitchen? Do you have an extra refrigerator? Do you want me to go to Nordstrom and spend that? I will do whatever you want. So we just want to make sure your money is calculated correctly, and we don't want you to lose your commissions. Last thing I want to tell you is we have these tune-up options when there's extra money in the contract. We have 3 tune-up options. There's a water heater tune-up, a garage door tune-up, and a manufacturer's warranty. I just want to go over the manufacturers really quick. This is another problem that we just had. I went into a home that was their water. I didn't go in the home. My technician went into the home. The water heater was 20 years old, and it was still under manufacturer's warranty, if you can believe that. Like, manufacturers are usually 1, 2, and 3 years old, right? Our manufacturer's warranty is $10. So years ago, manufacturers used to take care of the recall, the labor, and the parts. They do not pay for labor anymore. The labor sometimes costs more than the parts itself. We saved that guy $450 because he had that $10 option. So if you're doing a new construction, mostly, because I'm doing so many new constructions right now, you know those appliances are new. You know they're going to come with their own warranty. That warranty is going to expire. Make sure you get the manufacturer's warranty for $10. the fact that this thing was 20 years old and the guy was smart enough to get that manufacturer's warranty saved him a boatload of money. So if you think like some of the appliances may be new, have a conversation with your inspector, get that for $10. The only plan that we have that covers that is our best plan, which is our Enhanced Plus plan. So just so you know, we're the purple brochure. We're going to get our flyer up there by the end of the month. I'm sorry, my marketing director has been out of commission. But we have Fidelity, we're the purple or the blue. If you want the 13 month, the 13 month for $30 more, you get one extra month for $30. So a 12-month policy versus a 13. And then don't forget us on NHD as well. Also a governed company that we work with for NHD, Disclosure Source. We wanted to name it Fidelity, but too many people use Disclosure Source. It was going to be a cluster. We just didn't change it. So Fidelity Home Warranty, Disclosure Source, Natural Hazard Disclosure, Susie Pelshaw, Carrie Henry. We're here to help you any way we can. Thank you so much for the time. I'm sorry? $10 for the entire year. It's an option that you can buy, $10 to add it as an additional option. It'll be on our brochure. It's on our little tent card right here, which I'll give you. And but on our Enhanced Plus plan, it is included. Yes.
I have clients that want to redo their home warranties after the 13 months.
Yeah.
No, is that offer the same kind of coverage?
Exact same coverage. The 13 months is only available for the first year only, so we would put them in a 12-month. But we have we have the highest renewal rate of all home warranty companies. We're at 54% right now. So it's better, I know, it's better than ever. They want their warranty. They want to know that they have good contractors on the property that aren't going to rip them up. So we just got those statistics at our national sales convention. We were pretty impressed. We didn't know our renewals, but our renewal department's pretty aggressive. They'll start hitting your client up in the 9th month so they can kind of finance and budget into the next year. We email them, and then if we don't hear from them by their X date, we'll give them a call.
Awesome. Real quick, how does it work when you do have to file a claim? You pay like the $90 service fee. They send out a service pro, but the client still pays for a portion of that.
$90 is the trip call fee. It's just for us to actually go out to the property. You know, and then we are in the repair business. We're going to try to repair before we replace. You have to use our contractors. We're not a reimbursement company. Don't use your own guys. If we can't repair it, we'll replace it or offer cash out options. Sometimes homeowners like cash and when they want to do an upgrade, but home warranty doesn't cover everything. We don't cover mods, and we don't cover construction, and we don't cover to relocate the water heater, things like that. There's modifications that warranty companies don't cover for unless we have the option and they pay for that. Those would be things that they would cover. So like, for example, I just had the shower pan. That's a modification. That's not covered under warranty, but we'll cover the water heater. But we discussed that with the homeowner, what the non-covereds are before we do anything to see if they agree to that. And sometimes they just want to take the cash and have their own guy do it. Did I answer that correctly for you?
Yeah, so like say someone's heater goes out, they still have to pay some kind of fee.
Well, they have to pay $90 for us.
On top of that, they like to fix it.
Not only if there's modifications involved. It's a modification thing. That's usually on HVACs. There's always mods included with HVAC systems. I don't want to get into too much because I know you need the floor and I could talk hours, but next time we come in, we will talk about the new law with the HVAC that's coming. We're covering everything, including mods. It's a big deal and it's nationwide and it's taking place, and we'll probably have a whole class on it because it's a very big deal, which means our prices are going up because it's going to cost us like 15 grand to change out a water or a heater now because of the laws. It's insane. Yeah.
Then they told us, they were like, you just like, this is probably the best time to water.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You know, just really quick, I had my washing machine. It was 175 years old, but it was really like this avocado green, and I wish I kept it because it's vintage now. And the guy's like, I can repair it, and I go, what? I don't know it once. Yeah, I couldn't even get a new one. And I go, can I take the cash? It's like $250. He goes, can I have this one? I said, why? He goes, this thing will last longer than the new one you're going to buy. Because it's like planned obsolescence. They don't build them like that anymore. They build them to break down, so we have to spend money. It's sad. Yeah.
Like pool heaters.
Yeah, we do under pool and spa coverage, all we cover is the heat pump and filtration system only. The heat, the pump and the filtration. We don't cover any lighting, underground plumbing, anything like that, but they're a fortune. We don't get out of that for under a grand. Yeah, so that's well worth it. If you have a pool, just make sure it's maintained. If we go and we see a green pool, it's not gonna be covered. That means the algae's, you know, sitting, and it won't be financed, he says. Yes, Al.
Haven't sold for 30 years. Still in home warranty.
Yes.
With her, when something goes out, every time I call her about dishwasher, whatever.
Everything.
it is, she takes care. So just think about that for a second. You don't have to be on the phone sale. You can just plug this in, the existing house and have insurance policy on the phone.
Thank you. Very good point. Yeah, we call those direct to consumers.
I think it's a good investment.
It is a very good investment. Yeah, look, he's had it for that long, so. And we never charge you a renewal rate, which is like 100, 150, which it's normal, that's how we make our money, but we never do that for our agent, and you get your first service fee free out of me. So after the meeting, if you come up to me and let me know which, what deal you have, I will sign off a coupon for you, and great questions. I'm here to help you. I'll leave this because all my stuff is in storage. Carrie has all our stuff in her trunk. Otherwise, I pass you all our business card, but Daniel will make that accessible for you. And thank you. He's tremendous to work with. I want to be Danielish.
And he looks good.
Yeah, you look, yeah. This morning.
Yeah, that's the first thing I said to Daniel when I got in today is, man, you look dapper. And you've been getting lots of compliments. Tomorrow, Daniel will probably show up in a tuxedo. All right, just a couple closings to celebrate. Elena and Bree, congrats in Long Beach. Maureen and Mort, congrats on your one in PV. Sandra and Carson, Natsuko and Redondo. And then Young in RPV and Alicia in RPV as well. A couple new listings. Stephen has one at 30150 Palos Verdes Drive West. But price reduction a little bit to 4.5, just a little under 4,400 square feet, 3-car attached garage. Really nice place. Next one, Daniel Tuba has one on Via Estudio in Palos Verdes. A little under 2,900, or a little right at 2,900 square feet, listed at just under 2.7, and it's a 5-bed, 4-bath. I went and saw that place last week. Pretty nice little place. Okay, so if you got some clients you want to take through there, she has a day of the week open house. Okay, Stephen has another one on Cayuse. It's 55 Cayuse Lane in RPV. They just did a price drop to because it was like $2 million, right? Yeah, it was $2 million, so they dropped it 10% to just about 1.8. Just a little over 2,600 square feet, 4-bed, 3.5 baths, 2-car garage detached. So nice price reduction there. And then Josephine has one in RPV on Golden Meadow Drive. This one is just a little over 1,800 square feet, 4-bed, 2-bath. It is a lease for 6,800, but a nice looking place for sure. And then we have one, Zoltan, you have your land lot. You've talked about this one a little bit already. Tell us a little bit more about it so that we can hopefully find you a person to build on it.
Well, there used to be a 845 square foot house and it's a 5,500 square foot lot. Yeah, it's a prime location, very close to Lake Avenue, which is kind of the main artery, and very close to amenities and restaurants.
Oh, very cool. And then how did you find this deal?
Here's good ones.
Cool. Reaching out to your people. All right. A couple upcoming events and classes that we have. Dustin's Caravan is today, and I see a couple people that are on that list that aren't here, so there might be some extra space. So there'll be some cancellations here. Next slide. We are going to again be doing Red Day next month. make sure that you sign up. This go around, we are doing something here locally. I know that last year we partnered with the KW South Bay Market Center, but in talking with the ALC, was they locally in our community, so we wanted to do something for us. And so we are going to be going out to the Canterbury, which is a living community. And we're going to just be spending some time with some of the people that are there because, you know, a lot of those folks get a little bit lonely. Maybe family doesn't visit quite as much, things like that. So we thought that that was a pretty large segment of our community that is probably underserved. So we're going to go out and spend a little bit of time with them. If you don't have a red day t-shirt, make sure that you connect with Daniel so we can get that ordered. That way it's here on time. If you haven't been with KW since the last red day, basically, again, red day is a really big deal, and the world closes on that day. And basically we all go out, do something in the community to help better our community, show our support for the areas we serve. Really big cultural thing that we do. And what everybody does is they have their nice red day t-shirts. So we show up in force wearing our red day t-shirt, which is our uniform. And it's just really a great, probably one of the best days of the year for our company, if you ask most people. Now, so what we're going to do is one of the things that they expressed concern about, because their parking is not quite so big. So we'll get a little bit more information about that over the next week or so. But basically, we're going to set up some carpools. That way we can meet at the office, carpool over there. That way we don't take up too much parking, and then carpool back. Daniel's going to be available that day. If during the carpool time, you need to get back to your car earlier, Daniel can bring you back to your car as far as that goes. But we're going to go there and we're going to just spend some time visiting, playing some games, and just, you know, yeah, providing company and conversations to people who don't typically get it.
We're gonna go, I've been in,
Yeah.
some clients that.
Yeah.
Oh, John, can I add? It's from 1:30 to 3:30. So it's a 2-hour window.
Oh, hold on a second. Michelle, what was that again?
It's from 1:30 to 3:30. It's not on this version of the flyer. That's on the PowerPoint. So I just wanted to let people know it's only that 2 hours. So that's why if we can meet at 1 o'clock to carpool, or we may have a second carpool like at 1 hour into it, since it's a 2-hour window. But please RSVP because I want to let the Canterbury know how many agents are coming. So let Daniel know at the front desk, or I think you could scan that QR code.
So the top left is the QR code telling you that you're going or you're not going, and then top bottom right is order make sure. The deadline is this Thursday, so I need like a head count on your third side by then. If you're going to order. The other flyer says you're a designated driver.
Yep.
Can't you?
He's the designated driver to bring you to bring you back if you need to leave early. But yeah, like I said, we're just gonna go and hit some of the common areas and visit and spend some time with the community there.
So over there, they're gonna provide the food and tea.
Food and the music. They're doing a harpist. So I wanted to thank again, Dree and Maureen, I believe, are sponsoring this. For $300, we are helping provide the harpist, and they're providing tea sandwiches, and like, it's a tea party. So they're gonna have like tea decor, and it's in a beautiful room with like views that overlook PV. It's a really nice place, you guys. And we're actually, it's pretty special that we're let in there because they're very strict about who they allow to come into their spaces and do events and to talk to their residents. So, yes.
What was that, Maureen?
How do you want our money?
Oh,
How
how
I'll
you
talk
want
to
the
you
money?
today, Mo, but they want just like a cashier's or a check from the office to the Canterbury. And so if you want to pay Paige, that would probably
Yeah,
be
so
the
maybe
best
just
way.
so maybe give Paige the money and then we can write a check.
Thank you, guys.
So yeah, there will be it's not gonna be a rockin' band, but we're gonna have a pretty rockin' harpist playing that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, if you have one already, I mean, unless we did some new design that you want the new design, then just any Red Day shirt, prior Red Day shirt. Okay, so you're already covered. All right, any other questions on Red Day? All right, let's move.
Side and 5 years for the.
Okay, next slide. We are having our first AI agent collective mastermind on Thursday. This is open to all offices. I've been promoting it basically to everybody in the South Bay. So we do have several agents that are going to be attending that are not with KW. Scan the QR code if you want to RSVP. I think this first one will probably be okay, but I want to keep building on this. And so I think future ones, it's going to probably be a pretty full room. So I am going to ask for RSVPs just to ensure that we have enough space for everybody. But basically, I'm not going to read the whole thing off for you, but essentially, AI is rapidly evolving, and it's rapidly being more and more important into our business. I'm sure you guys have all logged on to Facebook and seen everybody making these cute action figures of themselves, which really cracks me up, because it's like I'm thinking to myself, you're not sending that to a client. Like, let's actually start using the tools to help you in your business, not just doing something for fun. Because I think right now the mindset for a lot of people, this is kind of cool, or this can do some kind of neat things. So much that it can actually do to help you with your business right now, other than just create some flyers, making action figures. And so that's what we're going to do. We'll spend some time once a month for about half an hour or so. So we'll start at 4 o'clock on Thursday. And we're just going to talk about, hey, what are you doing with AI right now? What's working for you? What do you want to learn about? And we're just going to kind of share. So it's not a class, and it's not coaching or anything like that. It's a true mastermind of people that want to get better at utilizing, probably in my opinion, what's going to end up being one of the most important tools that has ever been created, not just for real estate, but for anything. I think that this is going to be much more important to the success that you have than the invention of even the internet, because there's lots of applications. We're just scratching the surface on a lot of this stuff. So just want to make sure everybody stays ahead of that. So this Thursday, 4 o'clock, and then our happy hour, which is on the next slide, is afterwards to come and learn a little bit, come and grow a little bit, and have an opportunity to hang out and have a little bit of fun as well too. Okay, any questions on those two things? Okay. The annual. We have a really cool thing that's happening next Thursday as well too. Basically it's kind of like, we're not supposed to use the word scripts anymore, so we'll call it the dialogue off. So basically it's going to be a competition, and Maureen and Michelle. So we have our very own Maureen and Michelle Duval that are going to be participating in this. And basically the way the format works out is agents are going to go basically head to head and it's kind of like a tournament style competition. They'll be given a situation, and then basically one agent's going to have to be the agent. The other agent's going to be the person that you're going to is the client. And basically people will judge who gave the best conversation or overcame the objection the best. And then the winner will move on until we get the crowned champion that will become the closer of the South Bay for this year. So I think there's a couple cool things about this on why you should attend this, and it's all on Zoom as well too. Is one, because KWI has done some of these in the past on a national scale, and it's always really fun to watch how different agents dialogues about different agents. So that's really cool to kind of like hear some cool stuff. And then second thing is, I think that it'll help you learn some of the conversations that maybe, hey, I've never really thought about that, but I get that objection a lot, and that was a really good way to overcome that. So it's fun. You'll learn a lot as well too. And then we want to support our 2 participants in this. Put my money on Maureen. I think Maureen's the dark horse of this thing, right? Richard Chung? Oh, Bob. Yeah, Bob's a speaker. He's got that baritone voice too.
I just want to say I'm completely unprepared, but they asked me to do it and I was honored, so I'm doing it. But I'm going to try to sharpen my skills because Bob Alaka is like the king of cold calling and he dials like every day. They are all amazing people, and including you, Mo. So I'm just honored to have been asked, but don't be surprised if I'm one of the ones you learn off.
No, I you. So that is 10 a.m. Not this Thursday, but next Thursday. And again, top agents, and they're going to showcase their skills, share insights, and compete for the title of the closer. And then you get to actually vote too. So it's not just some judges or whatever like that. People that are watching the call can vote on who they thought did the best job.
Closing is the most important thing in your business. I learned 100 years ago when I started, someone said to me, if you can't close, you merely a conversationalist. That's stuck in my head for the last few years. Be a conversationalist. I want to be a closer and get people. You need to learn how to close. It's a technique. And I would have missed this for anything. You definitely have to go there. Thank you guys.
Well, you will learn something.
So many people walk away. Hanging down, so I know your temperature, but can I close it now? So your question, and that's what it is, something you ask you to respond. So you need to like, you ask the questions, you control.
100%. Okay. So I highly encourage all of you guys to jump onto that. I think it'll be a really good time to check that out. All right, Daniel. We got our escrow with the lovely Alicia.
All right, I won't take too much of your time today. I'm really curious what Dustin has to share with us today. So the escrow process, I know you guys have seen this before, just in case there's a QR code here for you. Those of you who have not, you can download that. If you ever want it co-branded, let me know. Throw you guys' information on there as well, so that you can put this in your buyer packets, seller packets when you're going on those presentations. One other piece of information that I wanted to share with you guys, I know I talked about it a few weeks ago, was the changes to the commission instructions, which are now known as compensation instructions. There's still a lot of questions coming up about the format of that instruction when you receive it from escrow. So please know my door is always open. I know sometimes you guys find yourselves in escrows with another company. If you want me to look at it and go over it with you so you can explain it to your client, please do. I'm happy to help. It's basically written like a math equation. So if you look at it like a math equation, that tends to help the mind process it a little bit more. So please stop by for that. The other thing is that when you're opening escrow does need, I need the listing agreement and I need the BRBC on the buyer side. So make sure that you have those ready to go when you're opening escrow. And just so that you guys also know, the BRBC needs to match the actual amount of compensation being paid. So I'll give an example. If the BRBC says 3% on it and the seller ended up agreeing to 2% in the contract, now you deliver a BRBC to me, it says 3%, contract says 2%, I am going to instinctively charge the buyer that 1% gap. So the only way that we know as an escrow holder that maybe that you've agreed to change your compensation is if you've done a modification of terms to your BRBC that would also need to be delivered. So just so you know, it is important that they all match. Yes, John. So both. We need the BRBC because the instruction that escrow is taking is what the BRBC says the buyer has agreed to pay, what the seller has agreed to pay towards that agreement, and then what is remaining for the buyer to pay. Maureen? Oh,
Yeah,
you share with escrow. We don't give it to the seller side. If you want to send it with your offer, then you can, but you don't have to. So because the way the contract is stipulated, on that second page now, it does say that per the BRBC agreement that the buyer has agreed upon, they're requesting the seller to pay this much of that. So it's in the language, and as an escrow holder, legally, we need to have a copy of that document. And they've reverted back to making sure we also have a copy of the listing agreement, and that's mandatory now because these compensation instructions, the language on them says we are collecting this much money based on this document. So whether it's the seller, it's based on the listing agreement, or based on the BRBC, that we're collecting money based on those documents. So, and that's where the language gets a little funky, and that's why there's a lot of questions coming up when you're getting your escrow package, because the language is just different. It's the same information, it's just the language has changed. So now we become experts in knowing how to read through that. We can very easily explain it to the client, and it's no big deal. Oh yes, Mr. Buyer, this is what you agreed on the BRBC. This is how much the seller's paying towards that. And this is how much you're paying. And in most cases, that's still zero. The buyers are generally still paying $0. But every once in a while, I have closed a few where the buyer is paying like 0.5%. You know, maybe it's something minimal. They just never could quite bridge the gap between the BRBC and what the seller agreed to. So the buyer is paying that in escrow, and that's okay too. Of course, Maureen.
okay, originally you know, work with the buyer and you put 3%. And then you put 3% on the purchase agreement. But then they counter at 2%. And so you agree. Does that mean that it's automatic that
The BRBC changes. It is not
but you
automatic.
have to do a modification and have that signed and have
Yes.
both papers to you?
Yes. So Maureen's question for those of you on Zoom is it, if her BRBC says 3% and the contract ends up being agreed to maybe only 2%, is it automatic that the BRBC changes? And the answer is no. A modification needs to be done to that, a modification of terms. If you want to do an addendum to the BRBC, I guess you could do that as well. But the modification of terms is a little more specific. So make the change there if you are going to make an agreement with your buyer to accept less compensation than what was originally outlined in the BRBC.
Now, what if they put on there, they're not paying anything?
If they say they're not paying anything, then that's perfectly fine,
then
because there's nothing that, as an escrow holder, there's nothing I would be looking to collect from that buyer.
Even if it didn't say the same thing on top?
Yeah, because if there's nothing to be collected, if the buyer's saying nothing, yeah, then that'll be okay, because it's whatever's in the contract is what they're getting. Yeah. Did you have a comment, John?
No, I mean.
Good. Okay, awesome. Any more questions? Al?
Volunteer, thinking of way of how agents can capture names and phone numbers out of the house. Hi, this is John, thanks for coming to my open house, blah, blah, blah. Would you like to know how much you would get? Are you going to be selling your house? And you say, well, yeah, what what price are you putting on it? Would you like me to get you a closing statement? So you know your bottom line?
Of course.
Service?
Yes, yes, definitely.
So then one to know what the top is. Then they do. So she gave you.
There's an exchange of services almost. It's, yeah, I'm gonna give you my contact information, but I'm getting something back. Yeah, definitely. Yep. All right, any other questions? And again, my door is always open, so pop on by, whatever questions pop into your head later. Thank you guys for your time. And one more slide, Daniel, because I can't leave without saying it. Please put Promenade on the contract. We really appreciate it when you guys are writing buyer offers. It does help us out a lot. And you just never know when there's going to be an opportunity to get your buyer the best escrow service you can imagine. So.
You have the most knowledge.
Yeah, really important to make sure that there's clarity on some of this stuff. We had an agent that basically just got into a situation. It wasn't anything that she had done, but basically the seller had told his listing agent that he was going to pay no more than a 3% commission. And it was understood that 1% was going to go towards the buyer's agent. Listing agent told our buyer's agent that the seller was offering nothing. So our buyer went and had our buyer's agent went and had her buyer pay her the percentage. And then I guess the seller and the buyer had talked during the move and said something to the effect of, yeah, we had our listing agent pay your buyer's agent 1%. And then the buyer's like, well, then why did she tell me I needed to pay 1%? Blew up into this whole big deal as far as that goes. So as much information as we can get to escrow, I think is really, really good. Our buyer's agent, obviously, we were able to prove that they received no money from the seller, but there's a whole big settlement issue that's going on between the listing agent now and the buyer. So, yeah, it wasn't a mistake. Yeah. Yep, for sure. All right, next slide. We have Lender Minute with the amazing Dustin.
So we're talking finance, and it's not always the most fun thing, but I do my best to make you guys laugh at least once, right? Maybe I did that already. Okay, so there's been a lot of turmoil over the last 2 weeks with like the R word, tariff, doing them or not doing them, right? And then there's a lot of how I see consumer facing, not only in talking with you guys as professionals in the industry, but then in talking with consumers, there's lots of confusion and I think some misguidedness. So this is just to be fun with you guys. You guys know the anchor that I dislike the most is Diana Orlick from MSNBC or CNBC. She always has negative things to say about housing. I always find it interesting that when a stock goes up by 50% or 20%, everyone just cheers, right? When home prices go up by 5% on a year-over-year basis and do it for 120 months consecutively, like year over year, it's like, oh man, it's so expensive now, right? So the title is interesting. Mortgage rates tumble on tariffs. Housing costs are still near record highs. That's just so unfair. And that is what your consumers see, your clients. That's what they see. So there's more to say to this, right? This is an incomplete narrative, but it guides your clients, whether they're owners already or not, to misconceptions, certainty, and doubt, right? FUD. So in the next slide, I wanted to share with you guys where this is all coming from. So escalation or negotiation. These are, I know Trump, he did dozens and dozens of tariffs, right? And these are the top 7 as far as the amount of tariffs that were going to be placed. We want to concentrate on the numbers because what I want you to focus on is just the theory of escalating and putting on tariffs. And what ended up happening was there was billions of dollars that vacated the stock market and went into the bond market as a safe, and that caused interest rates to tumble. Did you guys hear about that? No? Okay. Well, interest rates went down for a week for about half a point, pretty significantly. Conventional financing touched 5.99%. We'll get there in just a minute. But we can scrap all this because then Trump came out and said, you know, I'm going to put a 90-day hold on tariffs for everyone. We're actually just going to make it 10% across the board, right? Now, that's negotiation, right? Everyone was flipping out about having a tariff put in place. And so he set the bar high and then he came down low, right? And so this has caused a lot of money to move out of the bond market back into the stock market. The point I want to make here as we go into the third slide is that this is causing uncertainty in the markets, but also in your clients, like visions about how the future looks for them. And I'm hearing a lot of talk about the R word, right? Recession. But we happen to be in an industry that benefits from a recession. I don't wish a recession for our country. I know it'll hurt lots of people, but for our industry specifically, being agents and it's actually pretty good. Why? Because interest rates come down significantly, which then helps home prices. So this is showing you over the past 6 recessions that we've had, you can see in the red, right, that home prices have decreased twice. Now, what I think is interesting is that in 1991, it was 1.9%. That seems pretty nominal, doesn't it? And when we look at 2008, which is what everyone remembers, I think this is interesting because really, who caused it? Our industry, right? So of course you're going to see a significant drop. So the next slide, this is actually showing you at a more detail of 8 sessions, we've seen home values increase 6, right? So the bars from 1978 all the way through 2020, that's 8 bars, different recessions. The squiggly line is home values, and you can see something that's pretty consistent. It matches up with what I just shared with you on the other slide, which is the last 8 recessions over the past 50 years. Yeah, stable, an increase in a recession, and they will continue to go, right? Yeah, exactly. Diana, we should have Diana Oleg come in. So what I want to share with you guys is in the next slide now, right? Bringing this home for your clients. You will not see this in the back of the room, but what we're looking at is the backside of a open house flyer, which I build for you guys as conversation starters. Half of you in this room use this weekly. You call me and let me know that you're going to be doing an open house. I will prepare this for you, specific list price and neighborhood. But what we're looking at is 3 options. Back, it says 5.99%, 20% down. We're just going to concentrate on this section over here. And the payment is $42.51. This was last week. Pretty awesome. Okay, now moving into the next slide. Same house, nice. Interest rate 6.5%. Payment is $44.50. So it's $200 higher on a week-over-week basis. Interest rates today are where they were in February, 2 months ago. So while there is some volatility, what I would like to say is that really, we look at the span of 2 months, 6 months, and 1 year, they've been pretty consistent. And a fun fact to share with you is that if we look at the 30-year fixed interest rate over the past 30 years, because really, honestly, it's not fair to say in the 1980s when interest rates were at 16% anymore, right? Because what? Your house would be paid off if you had a 30-year fixed mortgage. So the average 30-year fixed interest rate is 7.17%. So even if today at 6.5%, would that be a pretty good interest rate by comparison to historical standards? But what do we care about more than an interest rate? Payment. That's all that matters, right? What is the payment? And so I believe that you still want to proceed forward with purchasing a house, right? Mark Twain said it best, that history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes, right? And the best time to buy a house was when? Yesterday, right? It's not about timing the market. It's about how much time you spend in the market, right? And so if we were to purchase a house today at 6%, and we're going to see 4 to 5% appreciation on a year-over-year basis, and you can refinance down, we can then have a strategy session, help clients to make informed decisions, financially confident, right? So tying this all back, and I'll answer your question. When they say home prices are going to continue to go up, why do you think that would be? Anyone? When rates come down, payments go down, which increases affordable purchasing power, right? Hi, Diana Orlick. Thank you. What's up? It's already happening. Well, right now we have a lot of uncertainty and like different things going on, ladies. No, I'm having a problem answering the question just because I joked telling in the back. So John, you're asking, oh, you're going to see unemployment increase, right? So the 2 Fed mandates are to keep jobs as plentiful as possible, right? But then also to curb inflation. And the latest inflation report that came out last week was pretty surprising. It was favorable, and it did show a decrease, which everyone was surprised about. But the predictions for the end of the year is that unemployment should increase between 4.6 to 5%. Now, of all the Fed members that are on the board, they're actually thinking that the unemployment rate at the end of this year is going to be 4.4. So it's going to be much higher. And with that, then is going to bring a lower interest rate environment to stimulate the economy. Because what is one thing that no one wants to see the government doing? What is the least popular thing to stimulate the economy right now? Printing money, right? So when interest rates come down, that is what is going to cause everyone in this room to have an abundance of opportunity in helping other clients. Yeah. It won't happen. No. Yeah, it was, and the government took control, right? And they still have it, but there's nothing that's indicating that they're going to relinquish. Yeah, yeah. That doesn't mean anything for us in this room or of our consumers either. It's just business as usual. Yeah, yeah. Great question. Anyone else? All right, you guys. You know how I close every time. I'm as far away from you as you are. That's right. That's right. Right. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Couple other things here really quick, so I know we're right about at time. Mega Agent Camp again is in San Antonio this year, so a really good time to go out and hear from top agents from across the country on what's working well for them and their businesses right now. Which brings me up to a point, because we have a few minutes here left, so that I think that this is worthy of sharing. I was on a call the other day and Gary Keller was talking, and Gary basically had said that, you know, in polling the top agents in KW right now, most of the top agents are anticipating 2025 to be a really, really good year. That they're actually in growth mode now. And because we were talking a little bit about the whole career visioning process, things like that on this call. And he's top agents right now, whether they're solo agents or whether they're teams, the top teams in the country are looking to hire agents to be on their team. They're growing. They're getting more business. Top solo agents are looking for leverage as well too. There's only one of me. How do I find different leverage, and what do I need to do to continue to scale up and grow? So the top agents right now are seeing a growth year, not a duck and cover and hold year as far as that goes. So there's lots of opportunities that are actually out there. We need to just make sure that we're showing up daily and we're doing the consistent activities, whether it's lead generation or even more importantly, lead conversion activities to follow up. Because last week we went over, the stats on how after one contact, almost half the agents that are out there don't do a second contact, right? And business typically happens after about 6 or 7 contacts. So we got to be really consistent with the lead conversion. So the reason I kind of funneled that into this is top agents right now, they're having a great year. And this is an opportunity to go hear how people are having a great year right now. So if you're not having a great year, this would be a really great opportunity to get some ideas on some things that you guys can do as well too. Okay. Tickets still $9.99, but they do go up after a certain amount of time. Once it gets close to being when they're going to raise it, I'll make sure that I let you guys know. But if you have any questions about Mega Agent Camp, ask Al, ask John, Drea. I think you've been to. Have you? I know you've been. Okay. Okay, I've been Mega Camp too, so ask one of the Johns or Al, and we can kind of tell you a little bit more about what to expect if you guys are interested in that. Okay. All right, and that really takes us to time. Again, if I could leave you with one thing today, it's show up and be consistent, right? Even if it's a tough day and you're struggling to get some things done, do at least a few activities every day to, whether it's lead generation for new business or follow up from prior conversations that you have. The consistency is what wins, right? And Mark King, our former president, used to say it gets really lonely in the extra mile. And what he meant by that was lots of people will do what it takes, but if you're willing just to walk that extra mile, and the reason he said that it gets lonely is because other people aren't doing that, and that's where a lot of the difference really happens. Right? So push yourself to do one more call, push yourself to knock on one more door, or make one more social post, or whatever it is. Because again, going back to that quote slide earlier, it's all about relationships. And it's not how many people you know, but it's the quality of the actual relationship you have with people, which is important, that will get you the business. Okay. All right, guys, thank you. And let's get a good contingent out on tour today.